Okay, so this next thing is really important for overhead throwers and specifically pitchers in baseball. And we see this all the time throughout the season where guys will come in and they'll have a huge deficit in this range of motion, okay? So we know a natural byproduct of throwing something overhead is going to be internal rotation of that glenohumeral joint, as well as a pronation movement through the radial ulnar joint at the elbow, okay? So as we go through this motion throughout the year, and we do this tons and tons and tons and tons of time, we have a natural tendency to shift our movement or how much available range we have into pronation, and we end up losing that supination, okay? So we know that this is important because in any movement we want to afford the human movement system, the movement system, or the motor system, as many available ranges and options as it could possibly have. We want to create a robustness to it so that it can actually solve a motor task like throwing a baseball, okay? Not only that, but we want to have that available afferent information, or as much quality and quantity afferent information going up into the CNS and into the higher order centers to be able to match what it sends out for motor output for the task, okay? So by losing this range of motion, this supination, although we don't actually go into huge supination movement while throwing a ball, it still is important for quality of information and matching, what we perceive as movement through that joint with what we're actually trying to accomplish in throwing a baseball, okay? That end point, or what the actual motor system shoots out for movement, okay? So a big thing with this, again, for assessment, is to make sure we're not moving anywhere else, okay? We don't want to move as we go into supination into external rotation of the glenohumeral joint, so we want to keep things tight. One way that we can do that is by having a little bit of feedback with this hand, the non-moving hand, at the elbow, okay? So we're going to have this right here as our guide. We're going to go into as much supination as we possibly can, so we want to think of almost serving a table, okay, having a dish there. And we're going to go into as much supination in full extension, and we're going to try and keep that supination as we go into flexion. Again, we don't want to laterally tilt, we don't want to externally rotate, and we're trying to get into a full supination and flexion movement, okay? From there, we're going to go into full pronation first, go back into extension. Okay? Ideally, and what normal would be, is keeping this shoulder exactly where it is and having that supination where the hand, okay, if you look straight on, is actually outside the shoulder. I don't have that. But as a thrower, that's something that you should be working towards, okay? So as you're doing this, again, keep in mind that we're not trying to cheat. We're going to try and isolate as much as we can. If we need to close our eyes to visualize that and to feel that, by all means, go for it. Have fun.